Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. This is our off-air podcast that we do 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We also have our Sunday sessions, which I'll be doing mine this Sunday, talking to a friend of mine about some immigration issues. He doesn't know it yet, but we'll be talking in the next couple of days.
Oh.
I got to schedule it. But we've been going back and forth about finding some time, but I'm really, really excited to hear his story about why immigration is so important to him. So that'll be dropping on Sunday, but there won't be a Friday podcast because we are off tomorrow, Thursday for Juneteenth, and then the day after that. But then also this weekend, it's Kelvin's birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. Do you have any big plans, Kelvin?
You know I don't. I'm not trying to like boo-hoo it up, but a lot of my close friends from Charlotte have moved away, so there's not really any
You do anything and nothing going on?
nothing.
Okay.
I'm sure Oscar is going to take me around, and I'm sure we'll do something, but
Yeah.
I have nothing planned for my birthday.
It's not like a
this
big
year.
plan. Well,
Yeah.
Miguel, what are you doing? Like, you gonna go hang out, dinner?
I haven't heard of anything. I'm here.
All right.
Well, that's on Oscar. I say that's on Oscar.
I'm about to say, girl, listen, I got too many birthdays planned. Girl.
I want to pregame at Miguel's, and I want to drink out of that AI bar that he has.
Oh, the Bartesian or whatever it's
You
called.
don't got a name for it yet?
No, we don't. I need to. Well, I got it for him for Christmas, so I have to see what
What
he
is
wants to name it. It makes cocktails for you.
Oh, like the Ninja Thirsty?
Yes.
Okay.
Or like some people have called it a. What are the K cups? What is it called?
A
A
Keurig?
Keurig?
Sort of like that, where they have little pods for the cocktails you want, and then on it has a different alcohol, and then it
I've seen
pulls the
those.
alcohol with the mixer, and it makes
Yeah.
actually really good cocktails.
I want one. Are you
Yeah.
going out Saturday?
I don't know.
You see, this is the energy I'm working with, Holly. So I will not, to answer your
Oh,
question.
bitch! Don't put that
I
on
have
me.
absolutely nobody excited to
Are
go
you
and hang out with
going
me.
out? If you said, "Hey, here's the plan. We're doing this. We're going out,"
Yeah.
I'd be like, "All right, girl, let's go."
All right. Well, I'm telling you right now, I'd like to go out dancing with
Okay,
some friends on
I
Saturday.
I will go with you. I will go out with you Saturday.
That bitch wants to eat on that fucking coffee table that rises up.
Yep. Yes, he does.
Well, listen, we have friends in town starting today until Saturday. And then Abe's gone.
Who's in town? I mean, you don't have to tell me. But
We have some friends actually from St. Pete.
Nice.
I don't know. Well, let me not give too much. Because I don't know like who knows what. But
Okay.
they're coming
Got it.
here to visit. I'll just leave it
Okay.
at that.
got it.
Got it.
Yeah, so they're coming and everybody else is out of town this weekend.
Where's everybody going this? Oh, are people taking off for Juneteenth like we are, or
Yeah.
is it just us?
Because there are some people that are going to Mexico. Abe is in Buffalo working, and then he told me he's working this big project that he might stay in Buffalo for his birthday because it's such a big project on July 4th. And he was like, "Don't worry about planning something for me." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay, girl, that saved me some time and energy." But I guess.
Okay.
But it's like a really big project that it's very lucrative.
Mhm.
And it's like all hands on deck. So
When's he supposed to have come back?
he was going to come back that
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
That Abe just came in.
I know that he's supposed to come back
Mhm.
that Wednesday or Thursday of July 4th week.
Mm.
And then be here until we leave. But I think because they're trying to get as much done before we leave on the cruise that they're gonna have to like probably work through his birthday. So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. When it comes to stuff like that, because it's like a commercial project, so they have to work off hours. And so it's not like they can work all day. So that's what's like making it so
Yeah, they got to come in at night, and
Mhm.
weekends and stuff.
so it's a lot.
Yeah.
All right, couple things I wanted to talk about. Oh, also,
Yes.
for you that are listening, I'm sorry doesn't apply to you, but for those of you that are watching, we're doing the show on video in a different format. And let us know how you like this. Is it
I want to know what your thoughts are immediately.
because we don't know how you watch it. Like, are you watching on your phone? Are you watching on your computer? iPad? Like, we know that,
TV?
right? Jenny, Utroska,
Utroska is watching on
she
TV.
watches on TV on YouTube after the fact, but then some of you may be watching on your phone on YouTube Live. So I don't know. So let us know if you like this new version of how we're just testing things out. I wanted to dig down into the Tyler Perry story a little bit more because we didn't get a chance to really talk about it on the show this morning.
Right.
And I start seeing stuff about it pop up. I think this broke yesterday afternoon.
Right.
And I was on I think X or Twitter, and I started seeing some things populate, and I was like, all right, this, because I literally don't believe anything on Twitter anymore. Like,
I was gonna say, why are you on Twitter other than for unscrupulous purposes?
Porn.
Why? Is that it?
I wasn't on there getting the news of the day.
I'm just saying, like, Twitter is just an absolute cluster.
Listen,
I don't go on it. I have it on my phone, and I don't know why. I never open it.
If my story ever starts with "I was on Twitter,"
Okay. Okay.
just so we're all on the same
Nasty
page.
ass.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
anyway.
I was on Twitter, and then I started seeing screenshots of text. And I was like, okay, this clearly, like, Tyler Perry is worth like $1 billion. He wouldn't be dumb enough to put stuff in writing.
Well,
Girl, on TMZ, they got his stuff all out there.
oh.
So, Holly, do you want to just sort of give an overview of what you talked about today during your headlines?
Yes. Hold on. Just a second.
Did you read all the text messages?
Not all of them, but I went through most of them.
Yeah,
I didn't see the
same.
text messages. So I'll just read you the story from the prep.
Yeah.
Because that's a good summarization.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Perry is being sued for sexual harassment and assault by an actor on his shows The Oval and Ruthless. Derek Dixon claims Tyler Perry has made several unwanted sexual advances since 2021. In one instance, he says Perry pinned him against a wall and groped him. In another, he supposedly snuck into bed with him. A third time, Dixon claims Perry forcibly pulled off his clothes. He says that for years, Perry has been, quote, using his power and influence to molest, abuse, and sexually assault impressionable and vulnerable employees and actors who look to him for guidance and mentorship. He wants at least $260 million. Tyler Perry's attorney says Dixon's claims are fabricated, suggesting that he got close to Perry in order to set him up for a scam.
All right, so let me click on this. If you on TMZ, they have a whole gallery of the text messages.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to pull it up. By the way, we're getting some people like the layout of what we're doing.
It seems like.
Good.
Okay. All right, hold on.
I figured it would be better, but, I don't know. I like the feedback because we don't know.
Right. All right, here we go.
Are you able to screen share when it's like this?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, we're going to find out because the title didn't work.
Right.
Holly,
I think it turns it into 4.
When you were looking down, Holly, or when you were reading, I tried to put up so people could know what we're talking about. It just covered up my face. I was like, hi.
It doesn't know.
Yeah, I wasn't laughing at the story.
Right.
For those who watch, I was laughing at that.
I was like, it just went over the graphic went over my face. So we got to figure that part out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's see what that does.
Oh, dang.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah,
you can't really
teeny
see
tiny.
it, can you?
I mean, if you're on the phone, this is great.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Y'all got to be the guinea pigs as we figure this out.
It's just going to take, we're going to do new things. It takes a little while to shake out the bugs.
All right. So now this is on TMZ. So obviously we're not journalists. We're just going by what's off of TMZ, and they have, legal experts.
Typically, they have to, like, TMZ has to be a fairly credible source.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not giving them, like, AP News status or anything,
Right.
but they do have to be pretty credible because they're so big and because they could so easily be sued.
Exactly. So it looks like this is a text between Tyler Perry. It's weird to just call him Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry and what's homeboy's name? Darren? Or
Derek Dixon.
Derek Dixon. So it's like Tyler Perry has sent a picture of himself next to a jet ski.
No.
I don't know why. Just thinking of Tyler Perry as like a regular person who's like, I'm on vacation on a jet ski. Just sounds really funny. And it says, homeboy says, nice picture. Yeah, the water does look calm. And Tyler Perry says, nice picture. And the guy says, great, amazing, awesome picture. And Tyler Perry says, you don't see the stud in that nice picture? Rude. And then the guy says, yes, that's a stud.
That gives me former coworker energy.
I can't imagine Tyler Perry like.
Is it real? I feel like it's so bad that it can't be real. Although we believe victims.
Right, we do.
Yes.
All right. So then the guy says, I can call you later. Now, we don't know the chronological order of these texts. Like if this was after the jet ski, it's just screenshots of text.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy says, I can call you later or tomorrow sometime. And Tyler Perry says, you have a really fresh voice and take on things. I don't know where this is going, but I laughed the entire time. I could see the world and the characters. My exclusivity ends in 30 days. This is just talking business.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in a little more?
I can't read. I'm just hoping you read it for me.
Yeah.
I can't see shit.
Okay, sorry. No, that's just business stuff. There's nothing crazy there.
All right.
Okay. All right, hold on. I'm trying to get to the good stuff.
Oh.
Because I was reading earlier on what I saw, because of course on Twitter, they just went straight to the goods.
Right.
All right. So this looks like this is Tyler Perry saying, you know what I cook, Derek. And then the guy says spaghetti, cake. And he says, I'm so drunk talking shit. What's it going to take for you to have... Oh, my.
Oh, my.
This is Tyler Perry saying, what's it going to take for you to have guiltless sex? Have y'all found that yet in therapy? Yes, it's the exact same kind of car, Geo Metro.
What?
And then the guy says, giving up my religious guilt, becoming a Buddhist, that's so cool. Where you came from. And then Tyler Perry says, unfortunately, Derek, I have friends who are in their 50s and 60s who are still dealing with that, and it's so sad. You can be have freedom from religious guilt and still believe in Christ.
What in the actual hell?
Ooh, if this is true.
There was one about him being on testosterone, which was cringy too. And I mean, cringy is not even the word to describe it, but
I know what's so crazy to me is you think that someone like Tyler Perry with so much at stake would be more careful and not feel like they have to. And this is all alleged. This is all alleged.
This has not been proven in a court of law.
Right. Innocent until proven guilty. But if this is true, like you have the pick of the litter. Like you could have anybody.
right.
Like, why would you feel like you need to like go? Like that's the part that I don't get.
No, that's the problem. He thinks he does have the pick of the litter and he could have anybody. And he wants this guy.
And when you want something,
You see what I'm saying?
just because you have options,
It's a
probably
game.
they're
It's
not
a
the
game.
options he wants.
Right. Like you could, when you have that much money, you could do literally anything. Is it fun if you can just do anything?
Right.
Or does some of the chase give you a thrill? That's my
right. So I guess
that's my take.
I see, because when you have that much money and you have that much access, everything comes to you easily and everybody is a yes person around you.
Right.
And so when someone is saying like, I'm not really sure if I want to go down that route with you, then you're like, oh.
Yes, and it's interesting.
I've conquered.
Especially guys,
Right.
I mean, especially men, do like the thrill of the chase.
All right. So, like I said, I'm reading this out of context. I don't know what conversation was had before this, but this is Tyler Perry saying to this man, allegedly, I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me. I hope you get past that block in your mind soon. Then the guy says, well, it's not this person, but yes, I want that too. I'm working on it. Therapy is helping. And then Tyler Perry says, listen to me. Oh, and this is Talks Porn Business.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you get the point of the possible, would you call this grooming?
Yes.
Aggressively
Yes.
pointed.
I would call it grooming. I
Right.
would.
Where it's sort of
Yeah.
like buttering this man up.
Right.
Because that's what that is, right? Like you are getting them primed and ready to.
You're having like these titillating conversations and yeah, and you're trying to open that door, be using manipulative language.
And the power dynamic too is completely different.
The
You're
power
Tyler Perry.
dynamic. Yes, exactly right. By the way, we're talking about all this like this is normal. But did we know that Tyler Perry is into men?
So I don't. So on Twitter,
Like
that's what I
nobody's really
saw.
talking about that part.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I saw on Twitter. Is like everyone was like, "Wait, Tyler Perry is gay?" Because I always assumed he was. That he just never came out. Because I've never heard of him being with a woman.
Okay.
And so I just always assumed he was, but I'd never heard about anything.
I think no
Okay.
one's shocked either.
Right.
I think
Right.
the
Okay.
text messages are more shocking.
Right,
Than anything,
okay.
Right.
Because that's what my first thing was like, oh, I didn't know that. And it doesn't matter, obviously. But
Right.
it was just not something I ever considered one way or the other. Like,
Right.
I don't think about Tyler Perry's personal life, personally.
I mean, I've
This one.
okay. All right, so we're just jumping back in, going through these texts. So this is the guy saying, so how do you make money then? Subscriptions. Tyler Perry goes, they make money from the advertising, lots of money. I love how I feel. Oh my God.
What?
Okay. I'm reading this cold, so I haven't read this. So Tyler Perry goes, I love how I feel right now, but I don't like being horny. Testosterone. Then the guy says, don't you save this, Kelvin. This
What?
is not the clip. Me reading these texts. Okay, bitch.
Let me save it.
This is not me
Got it.
reading. This is not the clip. Then the guy says, oh, yeah, from the doctor, but is it making you feel better? I feel so good, but I don't like being horny. I feel sorry for the first person that flirts with me.
Oh, boy.
Save that. I'm just kidding.
And then the guy says, LOL, LOL. And then Tyler Perry says, allegedly,
Ooh.
you don't even understand. Okay.
Well, is there
That'll do it.
anything like I mean, the first text message that you read, everything else has kind of been hinting around.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Let me get back to the story. Okay, it says in January 2020, Derek says Tyler Perry invited him to his Atlanta home, and he accepted, hoping to build a friendship that would lead to more acting gigs. But according to the suit, while there, Derek drank too much and ended up sleeping in a guest room. In the docs obtained by TMZ, Derek claims Tyler got into the bed with him and started touching his thighs. And although he rejected the advances that night, he claims Tyler remained interested. Shortly thereafter, Derek says he landed the role of Dale in The Oval. Great for his career, but he claims it was around that time that Tyler also started flirting or firing off sexually aggressive, suggestive text, including asking what Derek's sexual preferences were and telling him he has sex with men.
Gotcha.
Derek also notes his character Dale was written as a gay, homeless, and desperate store clerk who had to sleep with other characters for a place to stay. He claimed that's exactly what Tyler told him he was looking for in a real-life sexual partner, someone who would be loyal and dependent upon Tyler. Derek says he feared his career would be derailed if he flatly rejected Tyler, so instead he told him he just wasn't the sexual type. but he was always terrified he'd lose his job if he complained of sexual harassment. And this obviously is all alleged.
Right. Okay. I got it.
So
The picture has been
Yeah.
formed.
I just really hope this isn't true. Like, and this is where we are. Like, I believe. Like, I don't know. How do you feel about these things now? Because you believe victims, but then also like what Tyler Perry has done for Atlanta, the Black community, for Black actresses and actors,
The culture.
like like I'm getting this sense of dread and sadness in my heart if this is true, because everything he has built will just be erased. And like, I'm from Atlanta, and I cannot tell you the area where my mom lives is around the area where he built his first Tyler Perry studios. That part of Atlanta was crumbling where my mom lived. I mean, it was like, when I was growing up, it was a bustling area where we would go to the mall, the Greenbrier Mall. Like, that's where I applied to work at Chick-fil-A there. So I know that area very well. And so he built that area up. And so to think that all of a sudden, like, he risked all of that for that, I just don't even know how to talk about it, because I don't want to invalidate this man's feelings, because he felt like he couldn't say anything because this billionaire, his boss, was making sexual advances. And so it's like, I just don't even know how to feel about these situations anymore, or how to talk about it.
Yeah, it does. You know why? We have not been trained on how to talk about these types of things, because all of it is so taboo.
Right.
All of it. And that makes it difficult to talk about, but talking about it would be best for everybody. And I think also, unfortunately, when it comes to any sort of sexual scandal, America's MO has been very black and white. Like, this happens and it's bad, and these people are bad, and this is good, and this is, like, it's very, very, very black and white. And obviously there are some aspects that are very black and white. But when you get into the, I think, psychology behind it, it does make it a little bit grayer. And so I don't think that anyone is ready for those conversations, because it's so much easier, because also that's like the worst thing that you could accuse someone of.
Right.
So anybody that does try to talk about it in a wider scope, I think, is too afraid to have those conversations, because they don't want to be like, well, you're a sympathizer. You know, so it's almost, we can't talk about it.
Well, and that's the problem, is that we're living in a time right now that there's no nuance. You're not
Correct.
allowed to feel complicated feelings. Like,
Right.
as I started like going down talking just 2 seconds ago, I was like, oh my God, like, what if someone's like, how dare you? Like, you don't believe any victims. And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I can hold two emotional truths.
A lot of people cannot hold two things.
Right.
It's either one-sided.
Where it's like, can I not? Granted, we have to keep saying it's alleged, because we do not know if this is true about Tyler Perry.
Right.
But if it is true, like, it really is sad for the culture, for the Black community, to have someone that has done so much good, to have been so reckless and stupid, and to ruin their legacy and the resources and all the good that he has done. And it's like just taking an eraser and just erasing it away. But then also feeling bad for this man who, since 2020, it sounds like, has felt like there's been a thumb over his career, that if he made the wrong move, if this is all true, that Tyler Perry would wipe his career away.
Just take it away. Yeah. Maybe just two things can be true at once, like Holly
Yes.
says all the time.
Yeah.
And I want to pull back too, and even go back further. Two things can be true at once. Tyler Perry can be a horny ass, pushy ass man, and also have done great things for the community that don't need to be erased. Like that, those things that he did helped a lot of people.
Right.
And he can have some sort of deviant side.
Right.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
people are not, and this is another thing people have problems with. People are not only all good people.
Right.
And they're also not only all bad people.
Right.
Bad people can do great things. Great people can do shitty things.
Yeah.
Right.
Like so
Yeah.
much duality exists in human nature. We are all so flawed. And before someone's like, well, I would never do that. Great.
Right.
I'm super happy that you would never do that because that is shitty. But like, have you ever done a bad thing that someone else might be like, well, I'd never do that?
Right.
So there's a lot of not me. Well, I wouldn't, again, a lot of things can be true at once. And that's again what makes it so difficult to have these conversations, I think.
And it's a different world too, right? Like, what was their relationship working together? And I'm not saying to defend, either side, but there's a lot of context that's missing. And like you said before, nuance, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also think too that we have to get to a place that we can take a second to realize that like real life is not this dramatic played out situation like a movie. Like I remember telling the story years ago that I remember when I first saw someone do drugs. I was 22, I think, and I was in Savannah, and an old friend of mine that I had known, a few years ago was in Savannah visiting, and they were like, hey, come by our hotel room before we go out to the club. And I walked into the hotel room and they were doing coke. And I had never seen anyone do that before. My only knowledge or your knowledge of someone doing coke was in a movie where someone was doing it and then their life spiraled out of control and they lost everything and they became an addict and they were living on the street. And there was like crazy sad music to like a crazy montage.
Yeah.
That's the only version of coke I had in my head. So then I walk into this hotel room and then I see them over in the back sniff and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
No, girl,
Your life became the movie. Your life said like you can hear the music in the background.
Right. I was like, girl, no. And I left because I was like, no. And I was like, I don't want to associate with those people.
fair.
Now that I'm older,
Mm-hmm.
do I do it? Do I like it? Have I done it? Nope to all those questions.
No.
But I also know that like I do know people who do it and they live productive lives.
Do you associate with them?
I do. I know.
That's the clip.
But like also people do things that like I eat bad foods that will come back and haunt me, like we all do bad things. And just like you said, Holly, and I'm saying all this to just bring forth your point even further, is that people do bad things. And it doesn't mean just because you do that one thing means that like
it defines you.
Right. That like everything else about your life is absolutely horrible.
Right.
And I think for someone like me, why so much of these things has been so shocking is because I've always tried to, be perfect and be the perfect person where I don't do drugs and I don't do these things and I live, this truthful life as much as possible. Because I also know doing this job that I've never wanted anything to like come out of the closet and someone's like, well, did you know Miguel does fill in the blank? And so that's why I've always said, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing wrong before anybody else can do it. So nothing can be exposed. But anyway, so I saw that this last night and this morning, and I was reading the comments on Twitter. And I know a lot of the Black community is like, 1, Tyler Perry's gay. 2, what the fuck? Like, why? You have so much to lose. Why would you do this? So it'll be interesting to see. But I will say that Tyler Perry's people have denied it and said that it is a cash grab from this person.
Again, this person is looking for 260 million.
Which
that's a lot.
Now, I did see I read this on Twitter, so I don't know, but someone was like, all right, so if we're gonna take your word for it, how is Cassie just trying to ask for 30 million then, and you asking for 260 million?
I did not realize that difference.
I did see that on Twitter as well.
And did I get the numbers right?
I don't know. I didn't know that was the number for Cassie.
I didn't get the numbers, but I did see that kind of tweet of like, well, Cassie's gone through way worse.
And
is
we're
asking
not
for
trying to
less.
like, oh, tit for
Right.
tat, like, oh, well, let's line up everybody's traumas next to each other.
20
Like,
million.
oh my
No,
god.
but
Just
call it what it
Cassie.
is. I mean,
Yes, like that
are
was
you suing him based on him hanging your career over your head and these horrific text messages compared to what Cassie has kind of gone through?
I know, but then even talking about that makes me feel kind of like, because we don't
you don't want to
know.
compare
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
things.
No, that is
Although
true.
it does not look like he was like at this point, we know Cassie was like physically assaulted, like sexually, physically assaulted,
Right.
which is hands-on things like that
Yeah.
Well,
are different even in the eyes of the law. They're different.
Right.
Although I guess there was some groping that happened.
he alleges Tyler yanked down his underwear, groped his butt, and said, "Relax and just let it happen," and assured him it wasn't going to hurt. Dixon says he managed to rebuff this advance by changing the subject. According to the suit, Dixon finally filed a complaint with Equal Employment and Opportunity Commission in June 2024 and then quit the Oval, saying he could no longer put up with the alleged sexual harassment. Dixon is suing Tyler and Tyler Perry Studios for quid pro quo and workplace sexual harassment and sexual assault and battery, and he's seeking $260 million in damages.
Oof. Well, who are we to judge to put a money amount, right, on suing people?
Well,
I'll leave it
his
at that.
attorneys, it's the job of the attorney to ask for everything.
Right.
Like if you think you could get something, the attorney's gonna be like, we're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
All of the things.
Yeah.
It depends on your attorney, I think, but that would be my guess. Is the attorney's like, well, here's why that number should add up. You lost X amount of money from your job and blah blah blah, and they came up with that number. I don't know.
I would be curious to talk to a lawyer to see like what's the thinking, like how do you come up with that number?
Well, I think it's hard when they come up with what is it called? Like I can't think of the proper term, but it's like emotional damages or what I'm talking about, like that. I don't know, but they would have taken into consideration because didn't it say he quit the show?
Yeah, he quit the show, yeah.
So who knows for how long he had a contract with that show and what that contract was worth.
Right.
And then maybe endorsements or like you would actually do some actual work to try to figure out, well, what's the dollar amount that you are missing out on because of all this? And then maybe tack on the same in whatever it's called, the emotional damage.
Damages, yeah.
Emotional damage. But I can't think of what it's called. But you know what I mean.
Oof. So there you go. Well, this is why we have the podcast, to have conversations like that, because obviously we couldn't do that in the 2.5 minutes that you do.
Oh my God.
That's why when you said it this morning, I was just like,
I was
like,
yeah, that's not the place for discuss. They even told they said, just keep on going. I was like, okay.
So I just said, we'll talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then real quick, I wanted to just touch on, because I had a couple of messages over the weekend of people saying, what were our feelings? What did we think about the No Kings protest faced with the military parade / Trump's birthday this weekend, and thoughts, feelings, what was going through your heads, and then what have you thought about it after the fact?
Helpless as a person who is a son of immigrants who came here undocumented. Apparently the term illegal is out. It's not the correct term, is what I'm hearing from social justice, social media, and I'm okay with that.
What do you mean?
Not saying illegal immigrants, saying undocumented immigrants. So cool. I'll update that. I will try. Sometimes it'll slip out. Like we did a podcast on the Los Yappers, and I kept saying illegal immigrants, and Oscar was like, well, hey, let's actually educate each other on that. Like, it's not illegal to be here in the country. It could be like, I think he said it was not a misdemeanor, clearly, but it was a federal offense, I think is what he said. So it's not legal to be here, but it's a federal offense. So you should call people undocumented immigrants because you can't be illegal on stolen land. So that's been a lot of the conversation. I think that's what we did on the podcast. You know, it feels helpless. What can you do? I mean, this whole situation is stupid. Why are you coming for people that work every single day, going to their jobs? Like, if the conversation is, hey, these people, these immigrants that are here undocumented are taking our jobs and not working,
It's
then
a crime to be undocumented or
then
whatever.
then why are you going to their jobs? Why are you coming for people that are doing the jobs that you don't even want to do? Why are you separating people that are every day doing things, and you're not go for the criminals?
That's what I thought. I was gonna
Absolutely.
say, like, I thought we were like, this whole thing was under the guise. It was supposed to be under the guise of, oh, we're talking about the rapists and the murderers.
Right.
So you're telling me there's an order to pick up 3,000 people every day. So you're telling me that you got to find 3,000 murderers every day? Because I feel like not all these people are murderers.
Right.
So when did it switch? And how did, because, you know, if someone who's like for this administration might say, well, you know, I'm not for all of that, like, but I don't want, you know, murderers and rapists and gang members here. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah, nobody really wants murderers and rapists running loose.
Right.
So
From anywhere, from Georgia,
here or
North
there.
Carolina,
Right.
Florida, from anywhere or another
Yeah.
country.
Right. So like I'm on board with that. But then it started to become, oh, well, if you are, as Calvin would say, undocumented, that's the crime. Well, that's not what you said.
Right.
You
Mhm.
said it was murderers and gang members and rapists. And now it's just, hey, if you don't have your papers, get out of
Get
here.
out.
Right.
So and it's just wild to me because all the presidents have been doing things like removing people,
Right.
you know, like Obama did and Biden did, and, you know, going back like George Bush did. So I'm like, why now do we have to make it like this? Like with this dramatic, like, from the White House Instagram account, let's show ASMR of these men in chains. I'm like, the fucking White House account? That is disgusting. What?
Mm-mm.
The cruelty is the point.
Right.
And it's getting to the point where, like, you know, I have people who supported Trump and they like to comment on my Instagram stories to be like, haha, LOL, but they skip the previous story that was me, you know, talking about a horrible situation or whatever. And it's taking everything in me to be like, fuck off, like, stop talking to me. And I really don't want to be that person. I don't. I've really held back on writing a lot of really strong feelings because, you know, I'm very passive aggressive on social media when it comes to that. And it's becoming harder and harder. And what makes me even more angry are Hispanics that support Trump. I had a recent conversation with my mom about it, and, you know, even she agreed that she was like, what the fuck? Like, why? I don't understand why he's doing all this. And she's like, but, you know, people. And I was like, I thought that I don't need to hear what you're about to say right now. We both agreed that this isn't right what he's doing, separating families. Because if he separated you when you came here with my sister, we wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't have everything you have. We laid that conversation to rest. And what I'm going to do instead is just talk about her coming to this country.
Right.
And we're going to do that on Los Yappers. But yes, to the point of the story, what I was trying to say in the beginning was I'm extremely upset at a lot of my Hispanic followers that support him, because we out here pretending we're white and we're not. So
I think what makes me so sad about all of this is we are missing the point. The plot has been missed. If you go to border towns in Texas and in California, there is a problem with those communities having too many people coming in without doing it the right way, and they don't have the resources to take care of those people. That is where the resources should be going, because now they're saying that ICE may run out of money because they've been so aggressively trying to take people that are in the process of trying to become a legal citizen, and they're just taking people and they don't have places to put them, and they're hiring people and they're trying to do all this stuff. And it's like, we're not actually addressing the true problem of these border cities that actually need the help. And the problem that I keep coming back to with this, these are just political issues that they're using to rile up the base. These aren't actual problems, because if they truly wanted to make a difference, they would say, okay, we're not going to go to Chicago and pull people out of restaurants or sanctuary cities where they're run by Democrats and try to get the people out of the kitchens and out of the hotels and everything. But they would go to these border towns that actually need help supporting these people coming over here to get away from, bad governments or gang members or whatever the issue, communism, and they're trying to live a better life and actually put money into bettering the system to make it easier, more accessible, and faster to get these people to become tax-paying citizens. Because to me, the whole point of this should be, listen, we're always talking about the debt we have and the trillions of dollars of the deficit that we're in. Wouldn't you want to bring more tax-paying citizens into the country, vet them to make sure they're okay, so we have more money to pay for all the other shit we're trying to do around the world, instead of just spending more money taking people that are actually contributing members of society out? To me, that's what just makes me sad, is that politicians continuing to stoke fear by lying and blaming brown people for being the bad guys. Because, they opened up the airport to the white Afrikaners who apparently were being persecuted in South Africa. They had no problem with that. But anytime there is a country with brown people, no, girl, they coming from a shit country. You ain't welcome here.
Yeah, it's very much race-based.
Yes.
And it's the people at the top that are, there is so much systemic racism that this country is just, we talked about this. We've been talking about this for years.
Yes.
But it's just that I think a lot of the white men, the older white men that have a lot of money, are for some reason very scared about brown people and black people getting a leg up and having equity and being equals. And I'm not a scholar, so there could be multiple reasons why, but I think that fear is a big reason.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like for most people in their regular lives, they're okay with it. But when you have a politician, I mean, like, if you go back 10 years ago, oh my gosh, it's been 10 years since Trump came down those escalators and started with the Mexican rapist. That's what started.
That was wild.
Like, immigration, like, Democrats and Republicans were on the same page, basically.
Yes, actually.
Like, if you listen to George W. Bush talk about, he did campaign speeches in Spanish back in the early 2000s. Like, if you're a Gen Z, you're like, wait, what? The Republican president used to give speeches in Texas in Spanish. Like, that's how far we've lost the plot in stoking fear. And to me, that's what that's what makes me so sad, is that we continue to throw money at these issues that are not real issues. When I'm driving down here in uptown Charlotte, and I just see nothing but homeless people. All the money that we're spending to take these people out of their tax-paying jobs, when we could be helping rehabilitate these people that need help. But we've lost the plot because they have stoked fear to get power and to get elected, and then to make money off of the presidency so you can buy a Trump phone.
Well, I think also the problem is that they don't want a United States of America.
Right.
Because as long as outrage is the currency, they can do whatever they want.
Right.
Any of them, any and all of them, they keep us outraged.
Right.
On both sides of the aisle too. And that's both, because that's why I had to back off of Threads for a while, because I was outraged.
Right.
And when you go online, it's so easy to be outraged. Now, there's a lot to be outraged about, but the fear that is turning Americans against each other is the downfall.
Yeah.
Because everything is just dark and fear, and it's like all these negative things. And so that's what they want. That's what the people in power want, because that keeps them in power. They all just want power.
Yeah.
And money.
They're the puppet masters.
Yeah. I just hope as we, go into Juneteenth, as we go into the 4th of July, and, there's going to be lots of conversations about I'm not proud of this country or I'm not this or that. We have to remember that this country cannot succeed if we don't at some point come together, unless we try to find some common ground. And I know it's really hard for both sides to see common ground because we've let these people, and this is all of us, me, Holly, Kelvin, you listening, you watching, we have allowed them to influence us and to make us feel like our next door neighbor is the enemy.
Right.
They are not the enemy. They may have some wrong ideas of how they think we should be a good country.
We might be living in two different realities.
Right. But at the end of the day, that's not your enemy. That is your Uncle Bob. That is your grandfather. And at some point, we have got to start to sew these differences together, or else America as we know it will not exist anymore because we will not be united.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right. So there's your political talk, your once a month political talk.
Yep, once a month.
We'll circle back at the end of July.
Let's see how that all goes if we're all not in a war by that point.
Literally.
Well,
let me just read some of these comments real quick. Oh. Hold on. Dark Eyes Entertainment said George Bush was not a good example. Yeah, don't quote me on that because I'm just going off of memory, so I don't exactly know. So I'm not a historian. I'm not a political reporter. I'm just a casual political observer.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Teresa, we're laughing because the graphic is right over my face. Teresa said...
Can you not move it? Like, move it down. We click on it and like shuffle it or something.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
okay. Teresa said that fear is derived at the top. He is resting this very high amount of fears and stresses upon so many Americans, black, gay, foreign,
minorities, obviously. Like
right.
Minorities. If you create a problem, then you can create the solution, and it's probably not good for anybody.
Absolutely. All right. Let us know, for those of you that are watching, did you like the new format in this vertical realm? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let us know that if you're watching on here, or if you watch this later on, like we know Jenny does on YouTube, you can always text hits in your message to 96893, and we can read those later this week.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not here Friday, but I have my Sunday session on Sunday. Kelvin, how can people find you on social media?
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Holly O'Connor.
Radio Holly on Instagram and TikTok.
Mine is at Miguel Fuller. My viral video is up to 2.3 million views.
Yes, you and that table.
Girl, now everything else has been flopping, but it's so funny because I'm like, I'm going to try different angles of the table and see if I can reclaim some of that glory.
Every single day.
But we're going to figure it out. All right. You all have a safe Juneteenth. Take a second to read up on why we're celebrating Juneteenth and why it's a federal holiday. Just take a second as you're enjoying your day off if you have it. And we'll see you back here next week.